do you... Just bring him a chair. I'm not...
I really like this show.
Hello. Hello.
Against my better judgment.
Yes.
I actually like waking up to you, which I never thought I'd do. I mean, you, obviously, I didn't think I'd enjoy waking up to you either, actually.
And we've just been bigging you up in your article today.
So you should.
But he's right. Get him a chair,
Get him a chair,
please,
for
can you?
goodness sake.
My standing
There's
holding
one
over you.
here. Get him a chair. But you need to get me a chair.
No, it's a great show. I love this show.
Thank you.
You got a little bit of snap, crackle and pop.
Yeah.
It's needed.
But it's true. You know that, she's going to guest edit. She's not going to guest edit. She's going to do some cookery
We're talking about Sarah Ferguson.
Oh, yeah, Fergie.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see a guest edit here.
So
Which is going to be an agony.
Did you ever think we'd get to a point where you and I couldn't get a gig on RTV and Sarah Ferguson could?
I thought that day would come, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's finally arrived. Can you please get the big dog a chair?
They don't have one.
We don't have a chair.
Chairs. Times
Sarah,
are difficult.
thank you so much
Thank you for having me.
Sarah, get off my
I've kept
chair.
it warm for you.
Right, listen, can I say thank
Were you talking about my
much
piece on the ground?
indeed
We
to
were
Sarah,
indeed.
our royal correspondent. Now, we are delighted to be
Sarah.
joined by Piers. In just a minute, we'll have a chat. Yet another world exclusive hitting your screens tonight, PMU at 8 o'clock. Here is a sneak peek. This is Andrew Tate Part 2 and Tristan Tate, where they are taken to task by the one and only Piers Morgan. Have a look.
He's the world's most famous influencer, now facing heinous criminal allegations.
The Matrix has attacked me.
After 3 months in jail and months under house arrest,
Freedom at last.
Andrew Tate returns to Uncensored. What do you think coercion means?
I was coerced into this interview. You came along to me and said...
You weren't coerced into this interview.
Yes, I was.
A world exclusive.
Delighted to say Piers joins us. Well, he's already in. Mate, some interview. What was the reason behind it? What did you expect to get from it?
Well, the last time I did him was for the show was 8 days before his arrest last December, so about a year ago. And then once he got arrested, he got put in jail. Couldn't do anything in there, obviously. And I was trying to get an interview with him, but he did some others first. And I finally persuaded him and his brother, who I interviewed separately, to do this big sit-down in Bucharest, where they're allowed to travel around now, around Bucharest. They were, of course, under house arrest. Interesting arc they've been on in the last year, because they were put in jail, didn't even know, as they said to me, what they were there for. And then 3 months in jail, a lot of it in solitary, pretty tough conditions. Then they're allowed out on house arrest. And then eventually they get charged, of course, in the summer with very serious offences. But they've had their restrictions relaxed increasingly, and they're allowed to travel around now. And there's a word they may possibly get all their possessions back that were seized, the cars, the houses and so on. So no one's quite sure what's going on with this. Sure. They're due to face a trial. And as I said to both of them repeatedly, look, I'm not here to be judge and jury on the very serious offences you've been charged with. That's going to be for a court of law, as it should be. But will it actually go to court is an interesting question.
And the interview has garnered some criticism because it is quite controversial. They have been charged with very, very serious crimes. As a journalist and broadcaster, how do you balance that, the ethics of the responsibility of needing to tell a story with holding someone to account and not platforming them, particularly to younger people, as we know that is his audience?
Well, yeah, I said to Andrew Tate, I mean, when I walk around, a lot of people come up, as I'm sure with you guys as well, and I would say 2 out of every 5 are young men who want to talk about Andrew Tate. Right? He has an extraordinary global influence, good, bad and ugly. And as I've said about him before, I think 65, 70% of the stuff he comes out with, I think is actually a good positive message for young men to have. It's the 25 to 30%, which I categorise as misogyny, which I don't think he even really understands is misogyny, and I really take him on over that stuff, as I have done before, that is really, with him, problematic and maybe part of the situation he's found himself in.
Is he really clever, or does he play people?
I don't think he's quite as smart as he thinks he is, but he certainly is. He's a smart guy. He's street smart. He's obviously very charismatic, as a lot of good and bad people in history have been. He just wields extraordinary influence. And, it's an interesting thing. I don't know if he is as bad as these charges suggest he is, or whether there's a lot of an act going on. I push him quite hard on stuff where he tries to say, well, I was being sarcastic then. I was like, well, do you mean it or not?
What did he mean when he said coerced into the interview?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously nonsense. He wasn't coerced at all. He wanted to do it willingly. I mean, I flew to Bucharest to do it.
I know, we were going to play golf.
Yeah, I did actually, yes. I'm sorry about that. But, you know, it's an empty question, should you platform him? I mean, I think with these kind of characters, the more light you shine on them, the better, actually. The more you actually hold their feet to the fire a bit. And we get into a very, very interesting debate, which will be part 2 tomorrow night, about the whole Israel-Hamas war. He's got very strong opinions about that, which are opinions he's articulating to tens of millions of people.
So my wife said to me yesterday, I hate him, I can't wait for Piers to take him down. And my 14-year-old son, who you knew when he came to Ealing, was like, oh my God, Andrew Tate. I mean, we used to have that on shows we did in the past. I understand the platform question, but I think it's for good journalists to take people to task and say, look, what do you mean? Because we can all read... he's innocent till he's proven guilty, right? That's an absolute fact.
Innocent until proven guilty on legal charges. However, there are things that he has said publicly.
There are moral things, and it's interesting. You know, the whole thing centres around this webcam business, where there's no doubt he and his brother would make a lot of women fall in love with
He's
them.
been charged with
this kind of
trafficking.
lover boy thing that they talk about, and then they would get them into the webcam operation, and they would all make a lot of money. But some of those women now have told very different stories about the circumstances in which they did it, the coercion they felt they had, and so on. And there are allegations, of course, of rape, I think, in at least one case. So these are serious charges.
Absolutely.
But they've not been convicted of anything.
No.
And as we sit here, they've got no criminal convictions at all. So we'll see how it plays out. It's a very interesting case.
Cannot wait. Tonight, Piers Morgan, 8